Today you will be learning how to interpret numerators. The key concept that we will explore today is the function of numerators in a fraction. The big question today is, how does it work? In this lesson, you will learn that fractions are made up of multiple copies of the same unit fraction. You'll also learn how to compose or put together fractions by using the unit fraction. Finally, in this lesson, you'll be able to use fractions to describe parts of a whole. Let's connect the dots. You've already learned about fractions. You know that fractions have parts called a numerator and a denominator. Fractions are numbers that describe part of a whole. The numerator is the number of copies for the unit being described. In the fraction here, you see the fraction 3/5. The numerator is 3. The denominator in a fraction describes the number of equal parts in the whole. In the fraction 3/5, the denominator is fifths. Each fraction is made up of a unit. Unit fractions tell the value of each part in the whole. Think of the unit fraction as the name of each part in the whole. In the picture that you see here, there are 5 equal parts. So those parts are called fifths. Again, how many equal parts are in the whole? We see 5. So each part is a fifth of the whole circle. Now, let's explore. Here you see an area model that is broken into 6 equal parts. Each part is called a sixth because each part is one of 6 slices. So, you can see in this model, you have 1/6 and 1/6 and 1/6 shaded. Again, fractions are made up of multiple copies of the same unit fraction. The model that you see here has 1/6 and 1/6 and 1/6. Our numerator describes the number of copies of the unit being described. In this model, we want to describe the parts that are shaded. So we have 3 copies of 1/6 shaded. So our numerator is 3. 3/6 of the circle is shaded. Now, it's time to write about it. Take out your math notebook and respond to the following question. What is the purpose of the numerator in the fraction? Use this model to explain. Be sure to illustrate and copy this model in your math notebook. It is always important to label the unit fraction. Pause the video. Did you explain what is the purpose of the numerator in a fraction? Did you make this model? Did you label the model with the unit fraction? If not, pause the video. The question that you were asked to explore was, what is the purpose of the numerator in a fraction? In this model, you see the numerator describes the number of copies of the unit fraction. In this model, the circle is divided into 8 equal parts. So each part is equal to 1/8. In this model, 4 copies of 1/8 are shaded. So 4/8 describes the amount shaded. Now, let's apply it. Solve the following problem in your math notebook. Mrs. Robinson is painting a fence in her backyard. She has already painted the sections of the fence that are shaded. What fraction of Mrs. Robinson's fence still needs to be painted? Determine what important information is in the problem. Make a model and solve. Pause the video to solve the problem. Let's explore it. In this problem, we know that Miss Robinson painted a fence in her backyard. The gray spots on the diagram show the parts that she has already painted. The question is asking you what fraction of the fence still needs to be painted. If you labeled the diagram, you'll notice that in this fence, there are 6 equal parts. Each part is called a sixth. Notice I labeled my diagram because it helps me to clearly see the unit. When I'm solving for fractions, the numerator is always the number of copies of the unit being described. In this problem, I have 4 copies of 1/6 that still needs to be painted. The numerator is 4 because 4 sections out of 6 still need to be painted. So the fraction that describes the amount that still needs to be painted is 4/6. Here's your final exit ticket. Be prepared to check in with Coach Robinson to share your thinking. 5 friends share a pizza. The pizza was cut into 8 equal slices. If each friend eats 1/8 of the pizza, how much of the pizza will be uneaten? Draw and label a model and explain your answer. When you are finished with the exit ticket, sign up to check in with Coach Robinson.